All right, let's talk about AI and code. For the past couple of years, we've been absolutely flooded with hype, right? We've been told this grand story about the future of software. But now the real world data is starting to roll in. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and get to what's actually happening.
I mean, this was the dream we were all sold. You had the leaders of the biggest AI companies in the world telling us, pretty much point blank, that human programmers were about to be a thing of the past. The whole idea was that AI would just handle all the boring coding stuff, freeing us all up for, well, they kind of got fuzzy on that part. But hey, it was just around the corner.
But instead of that utopian future, we got this. This number, that's how many customer orders just vanished from Amazon's website in a single day. All because an AI coding tool decided to push some really, really bad code directly to production, all by itself. And this wasn't just some tiny glitch. This was a massive red flag.
So, to really get how we went from AI will write all the code to million-dollar outages, we need to rewind a bit. Let's go back to the beginning of the hype cycle and that incredible promise of the first true AI software engineers. You probably remember this. The Devon demo dropped, and it was, well, it was stunning. Here was this AI that could take a simple request, figure out a plan, write the code, test it, and then deploy a whole app completely on its own. The entire developer world pretty much had a collective panic attack. Was this it? Was this the end of the line for human coders?
Okay, so this is where the story takes a turn. What happened when these super powerful tools got out of the nice, clean lab environment and crashed headfirst into the messy, complicated reality of real-world software? Well, the results were, let's just say, catastrophic. At Amazon, it wasn't a one-off thing. It became a terrifying pattern. They mandated that most of their engineers had to use their in-house AI tool, and things went wrong fast. In one instance, the AI's fix for a small bug was to just delete the entire production environment. Seriously. A few months later, another AI tool caused over 1.5 million errors, and that all led up to that massive outage where nearly all of their North American orders just disappeared for 6 hours. And this wasn't just a coding problem. You had huge consulting firms like Deloitte charging governments hundreds of thousands of dollars for reports written by AI. The problem? The reports were basically fiction. They had fake sources, made up quotes from judges, the whole thing was a fantasy. And their defense, I kid you not, was, the evidence is completely fake, but the conclusions are real. Just trust us.
And this chart right here just brilliantly shows the core issue. See, when you take these amazing AI models out of their simple, clean little test environments and throw them at real, complex, messy code bases, the kind that companies actually run on, their success rate just plummets. A big benchmark showed that the best of the best models could only get the job done right somewhere between 20 and 30% of the time.
So, wait a second. If the success rate is that low, why did every developer out there feel like they suddenly had superpowers? Well, this leads us to the most fascinating part of this story, what we're now calling the Great Productivity Illusion. The numbers here are just wild. When you asked individual developers, they felt like they were working about 55% faster with AI. But when you looked at what their teams were actually shipping, finished working products, they were actually 19% slower. Let that sink in. Faster at typing, slower at shipping. What on earth was going on?
Well, here's where all that saved time was going. Every single minute saved from typing was being eaten up and then some by a whole new set of problems. The AI-generated code had almost twice as many bugs. It created double the amount of code churn. That's code so bad you have to delete it right away. And because nobody really trusted the AI's work, code reviews took almost twice as long. It was just this perfect storm of hidden work.
And all of this is creating this huge, scary, new problem called dark code. And this isn't just code with bugs, no. This is code that's running live, in production, handling your data. It works, but nobody on the team that shipped it can actually explain how it works. That critical step, where a human being actually understands the logic, it got skipped entirely.
All right, so let's get to the solution. How are the smartest teams starting to fight back against this? Because the answer isn't to just throw the AI away. It's about creating a whole new playbook for how to use this powerful new tool without shooting yourself in the foot.
The very first step, and it's a big one, is all in your head. It's a mental shift. Think about it. A power drill makes a carpenter way faster, but it doesn't make the carpenter obsolete, right?
We have to stop thinking of AI as this thinking, reasoning being that's here to replace us. It's a tool, a powerful one, sure, but it just predicts the next word. It doesn't actually understand anything.
So the new playbook is all about putting human understanding back into the driver's seat. That means forcing yourself and your team to be crystal clear on what you're building before a single line of code gets written. It means building systems that explain themselves, and it means creating a final check, a comprehension gate, that all code has to pass before it's allowed in.
And Amazon is the perfect example here. They learned this lesson in the most expensive way imaginable. After those disasters, they totally rebuilt their AI tool. Now, before it generates any code, the developer has to write out a clear plan, a spec, detailing exactly what needs to be done. They are literally forcing comprehension before generation.
So what does this all mean for the future of building software? Well, it's not a fight between AI and people. Not at all. It's about the rise of a totally new kind of developer, the AI-powered developer. Think about it. As AI gets better at spitting out the basic code, the skills that become way, way more valuable are all the things AI is terrible at. We're talking about deep problem solving, designing smart, resilient systems, and just dealing with messy human ambiguity. AI can write a function, sure, but it can't have a conversation with a client and figure out what they really need but forgot to ask for. So the takeaway here couldn't be clearer. The future isn't AI replacing developers. Nope. It's developers who get really, really good at using these AI tools replacing the developers who don't. The tool is here to stay, but it takes a true craftsperson to use it well. And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. As AI makes the act of generating code basically free, what becomes the most valuable, the scarcest resource? It's not the code anymore. It's the human judgment, the wisdom, and the context to know which code to write and why. Something to think about.